Hey yo! Welcome to season 2 of the
Arts Block Podcast.
For Artists,
For artists,
by artists,
by artists.
so artists can talk about anything that we want and desire. I'm your host. I'm your what? I'm your host, Eric Curry the third. Getting bigger and better this season, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for the show. Hey yo! Welcome back to another episode of the Arts Block Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Curry III, and today this is a little different episode, ladies and gentlemen. I just figured out how to use my mic almost 20 episodes in, and I just figured out how to use my mic. Shut up. Today we have a special guest in the building, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into the special guest, I have a big announcement to make. Shout out to Bobby Schmurder. He just got out. Shout out to my boy Bobby. Shout out to my boy Bobby. He just got out. I don't know him personally, but that's my boy at heart. But now let's get into this amazing guest that we have on the podcast. We have I don't even know where to start. An actor, a drawer. He actually drew the sketch for the Arts Block Podcast logo. So without him, there probably wouldn't be no Arts Block Podcast logo. And I really do appreciate him for using his talents and I offered to pay him, and he said, "Nah, Eric, just have me on the podcast." And I felt so bad not being able to get him on season 1. So here you are on season 2, one of the last episodes on season 2, the second to last episode of season 2. So welcome, everybody. Give a warm Arts Block welcome. I gotta put the mic down for this. Give a warm Arts Block welcome to Mr. Santiago Moriarty. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Thank you, Eric. No, to you. Like
Santiago, how are you doing? How are you?
I'm good. I've been looking forward to this since you asked me about this last year. How are you?
No, I'm great. I'm glad that I'm finally getting this one done.
Yeah, me too. I've been waiting all day.
I know, Santiago. I know. But are you ready though? Are you nervous? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about this? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Don't be nervous.
Right now, I'm fine. 20 minutes ago, I was not fine. I was like, oh.
But how? Okay. So for everybody that doesn't know, Santiago is a junior. I am a sophomore. Both go to Duke. But he was in my ensemble for my whole first year of Duke, and Santiago was like a legend in the theater department. I don't know if you still have that legendary status over Zoom, but I know you did. But I know you did when we were in school. So how did it feel being a young legend going to Duke?
I mean, Duke is full of legends. I don't know if I ever considered myself one of them, but for sure, just walking those hallways every morning, you go in and you're like, I mean, you think of all the talent and all the potential that's in that building, and you look in the hallways, and I think I've had this conversation with you. I know I've had it with other people. You think about like, oh, some of my friends are going to be famous someday, soon, straight out. I mean, you interviewed Charlie recently.
Yeah, I did. That was dope. Shout out Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, every day I walked in the building, and now it's a bit harder to feel this inspiration over Zoom, but every morning you walk in, it's, you just stay inspired by everybody else, by seeing what everyone else is doing.
But I don't think you understand like how big of an inspiration you were to us as a first year class, right? So you coming in and your dedication and how hard you work and how eager you were to do theater, I don't think we as a class was expecting someone to be like that, because we weren't even like that coming in there, right? So where did that love and that energy that you brought that first year for theater, where did that come from?
I think I felt the energy from you guys, and I was just trying to bounce it back on you all.
Really?
The energy from the teachers, and I mean, I think too, the fact that it was my first year in American school ever, because I grew up in South America. I was just like, I need to show them that I can
Yeah.
do something. I need to prove myself. And I showed up that first day and everybody knew what to do. And I felt like everybody knew what to do. I mean, even some things as simple. I think you were the one that showed me how to navigate the cafeteria, like the lunch line. Like I've never had that. So it was things like that where I just was like, I need to stay active. I need to become a part of this group of people. It's so intense. And I think I did it better than I expected I would have.
And let's give them the backstory. So um you you're from originally from Seattle.
Yes.
You are from Seattle. You moved from Seattle to South America when you were 4, right?
Yes, correct.
So, and you literally just moved back to America, but now you're in a whole different other side of the country than Seattle, and
Yeah.
you're here for school, for a performing arts school. But however, you are also in a performing arts school in South America. So where did that love for the arts come from? Did it come from your parents? Did it just come from you being around artists in South America? Like what happened?
I think my parents were probably, yeah, my parents definitely from a young age were strong on the arts, but not theater. My first experience with art really was violin. I got a violin when I was 7 years old.
Really?
I played that for about 7 years on and off. And I've always loved performing since I got the violin. You know, that there's a magic that you feel on stage, regardless whether you're acting or playing an
Yeah,
instrument,
for sure.
singing. Um, but then around that same time I got the violin, we had a family friend who ran a circus in Bolivia, where I lived. And my mom figured, try out the circus. We went to a show and I thought it was amazing and I joined it. So that was my first experience with acting, really. And whenever I talk about acting, I always credit my initial love for it to both the circus, which I was a part of,
Mhm.
and Singing in the Rain, the movie.
Oh,
I
I
watched
thought you was
it like
literally
six.
singing in the rain. Just say Santiago. Jesus Christ.
I watched Singing in
What?
the Rain when I was like 6, and I became obsessed with it, and I knew every song, and I would dance around the house and dress up and perform for my family. But then I kind of left that all and went back to, I was going to audition with violin for this performing arts high school in Bolivia, and I don't think they have slots. And I figured, well, I did the circus. I like watching plays, so I'll try the theater department. And I met this guy, Bernie, who was the director of that theater program. Shout out to Bernie because he's an amazing person, and he got me really into it. And now it's, what I want to do with my life. So
But what made you choose Duke? Because you did you know about like Duke? Like who? Wait, hold on. Who brought Duke up to you first? Who brought
my
that up?
dad, my dad brought it up a while ago because my dad was a teacher in DC in the 90s,
Mhm.
and he knew about it. And I was like 12 maybe, and he was like, well, if we ever move to the States, DC is an option of where we might live. And there's this Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And, back then they were thinking I would play violin because I hadn't started theater seriously yet, but I knew about it. It was always in the back of my mind. And then my dad moved up here 6 months before the rest of my family. And he was like, hey, we're in DC, like this Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And he sent me the audition procedures. And then I moved up and auditioned and met you guys.
Was that scary though? Because not just going to a whole different school, coming from a whole different. It's not like you came from a whole different state. You came from a whole different country, a whole different culture, a whole different way of speaking, a whole different pace of life. Weather is different. It's really cold here. Was it like hot in Bolivia? Like did it feel good all the time?
Yeah, it's like this weather right now. It's like 60 degrees. That's like the coldest it would get in the daytime. I mean, it doesn't snow. It doesn't.
Exactly. Like you came here and it snowed. Like what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Was it like a culture shock in a sense?
Oh yeah. I still feel it to this day. there are times where I just sit back and I'm like, oh Jesus, I live here. Like, it's weird. It's really weird. It's bizarre. But Duke definitely helped. I mean, Duke, to find a community of people that I could just be myself with and to see you guys do, yeah, no, that was a huge part of what helped me. But culture shock, yeah, every day still. It's gonna be 2 years this summer and I still feel it.
Yeah. Has anyone has because I know you know a lot of people that do. I don't know how many black people you know. I hang around. But has anyone taken you to a carryout? Anyone taking you to a carryout?
Yes.
Oh, that didn't seem too convincing to me, Santiago. That didn't seem too convincing.
Okay, well, look, listen, the biggest challenge I've faced beyond culture shock is that COVID became a thing like 7 months after I moved here.
That's true.
So I came in the summer of 2019. I didn't know anybody. So my summer was the worst summer of my life pretty much because I was stuck. I didn't know anybody in the city. And then I started Duke. You know how Duke schedules are. It's like 12-hour days, 16-hour days. And then COVID hit and I haven't been able to see anybody. So a lot of things I just wish I could do, I haven't been able to do yet.
And man, I gotta take you to a carryout. Gotta take you over to Southeast. Gotta get you over to MLK Deli. Then I gotta take you to a good carryout. Get you some authentic carryout mumbo sauce. I got you, Santiago. Nobody gave you the welcoming that you deserve. I got
Yeah,
you.
no, definitely.
Got you. Nobody gave it to you. That's disrespectful. I'm mad at ninth grade me for not doing that. That's disrespectful. But Santiago, you not everybody. I didn't know that you could draw. Let me start there. I didn't know that you can draw until we had to do this assignment for theater, and you drew this. I don't,
Uh,
yeah, like you would know. I'm trying to explain it into like language terms. It's like this. It's like a theater historian. Let's just call him that. Like a
yeah.
theater historian. His name is Brett. You drew him, and like you just drew a sketch of him in French class, and it took you like less than 5 minutes, and I was looking like, what are you going to do with like hours of time that you have after class? Because this looks good. Like we can just put this on the poster right now. Like,
Yeah.
but where did you? And you said that your performing arts school, they didn't just teach you one thing; they taught you a plethora of different arts. So, what kind of made you? And even though they did teach you a plethora of arts, you didn't have to like pick up on drawing. You didn't have to. You didn't have to do that. So, what made you do that?
Drawing. Okay, so earlier I said my first experience with arts was violin. That was my first experience with performing arts and like being introduced to an art. But drawing I've been doing since before I can remember.
I feel like that's every kid though.
Yeah, but I mean, I was serious about it. Like I wanted to be a cartoonist growing up. And I read comic books like crazy. Not the superhero comic books, but other comic books and just other, I just liked visual arts. And I went to a visual arts class once when I was around 6. Literally one class, and then I told my mom I don't want to come, which I sometimes regret because you want technique. Like sometimes I think back at it and I'm like, it'd be good to have some technique, which I don't have. But no, 6-year-old me was just like, I don't want to be here like this. Yeah, I felt bad. It was like a mom's friend of mine. She ran the school, but anyway.
But why didn't you now like? Because how old were you when you got into Duke? 15?
16.
Why? So what made you be like, nah, like 16-year-old you? Why weren't you like, you know what? Maybe I want to try VA again, or maybe I want to try violin again. What made you be like, you know what? I know I want to do theater. This is it.
VA, I didn't choose because I can't draw under pressure. I can draw for projects like I did with Brecht and for theater, but I can't draw under for an assignment. I've never been able to. So I just knew that was not an option. And violin, it's really regretful and sad to me, but I I was kind of burned out with when it came to violin. Like I was in an orchestra for a while, for like 4 or 5 years, and 9-year-old me staying at an orchestra rehearsal until like 11:30 just wasn't good. And I love violin as an instrument. I love violin music, but some of the memories I associate with violin, just intense rehearsals, I've kind of blocked it out. And I know sometimes I wish I could go back to it, but not as a career choice.
Yeah.
Theater is definitely my career choice, so I figured that's what I'd do.
So I know you said and that's hilarious that your introduction to theater was the circus, because I feel like a lot of great playwrights, directors, especially older playwrights and directors, their first experience with theater was the circus. But it wasn't just a regular circus. It was a Bolivian. Am I saying that right? Bolivian?
Yeah.
It was a Bolivian circus.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to American circus? American circus?
No, no.
You haven't?
No, I know what they're like because movies, but I don't
Dang.
know. Dumbo's like the nearest.
Dumbo is the nearest thing you had to a circus experience?
No, like, yeah, honestly, because I've never.
You never had like the Universal Soul Circus?
No,
Dang,
no.
Santiago. Bro, I gotta get you out of here. I don't even know if the Universal Soul Circus is still a thing. But I gotta get you out, Santiago.
I mean, this Bolivian circus wasn't like exotic, but it was different. There weren't a ton of like. It wasn't clowns with makeup and stuff. It was
Yeah.
theater in a circus tent, and it was juggling and live music. But they had this youth program, which was I'm forever grateful for. And they taught me to juggle, and they taught me to use the flags
Mhm.
and the diavolo, which is that plastic two discs stuck
Yeah.
together, string with two sticks, and which I never got good at. But different things like that, and it was really, really, really fun.
So so basically what I heard was not what I heard, but what I'm like comprehending is that the circus helped you be free with actual on stage theater. Like the
Yeah.
circus helped you be more free, be more comfortable, be more like, you know what? I embarrass myself in front of thousands of people. I'm okay embarrassing myself in front of 20 of y'all. Like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And and also Santiago, you were like the old, like you were like the OG. Like you like not like you already did high school, right? So and you did high school in Bolivia,
Yeah.
right? So what made you be like, you know what, I'm getting nah, I don't really want to do. Well, were you in like a performing arts high school, or were you in like a just a regular?
Performing arts high school. I did theater there.
Bro, you were in a performing arts high
Yeah.
school in Bolivia. Why
Yes.
do you want to move here? It's cold.
No, I mean, I just want every experience I can get, which is I think part of the reason I like theater anyway. But as a 16-year-old, first of all, I didn't really have much of a choice about whether I was going to move or not.
That's true. Because
And
you
I was
got
appreciative of the fact that I could also, I mean, I think it really helps to have a Bolivian experience, an American experience.
Mhm.
I would love to be able to go to England for college, to have a third experience. And I think just knowing as many versions of theater and acting as possible helped.
Mm,
I think that really helped me a lot. But definitely acting in English for the first time,
yeah.
that was very, very, very scary. Me and I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name, but the head of our theater department
There you go.
in a room together alone. Yeah, I was nervous. I was really nervous, but
But you got in though.
it worked out. Yeah. Yep.
Man, 20 and like you said, 2020 was a crazy, very unpredictable year.
Yeah.
And a lot happened. However, throughout all the bad, bring out some good that happened to you in 2020. If you can, because I know it's gonna be really hard.
No, definitely. I mean, even though I earlier was talking about COVID
Mhm.
affecting everything, I don't think I went out as much with other people as I would have liked to, but I got to know DC, mostly the National Mall, but I got to figure my way out through the city. I was biking a lot throughout the summer, but also I just became closer with a lot of people at Duke.
That's
Um, I really started talking to you in 2020, the
Mhm.
beginning of 2020. I mean, that's when it all got really intense at Duke. We had a ton of projects going on. I was doing Shakespeare with the second years.
He was.
Um, we had a year ago, I guess, exactly, we were doing the Black History Project
Mhm.
for our class. And I just really got into a rhythm of work, which was a bit corrupted once COVID started, but I think I've started to find a bit more. But I think I became comfortable in what it is I do and the work. And that's such a broad thing to explain. But I really became comfortable in
Now,
how I work and how other people work and what you get from that work.
yeah. Have
Yeah.
you been have you been creating at all in 2020? Have you been like drawing anything or like writing any like short films or anything?
Drawing? No.
Mhm.
Last time I drew was probably last year, which is really sad. I love drawing still, but I just don't. Some inspiration has kind of left me.
Mhm.
Um, I've been writing. I really enjoy writing. I've been journaling. But most of all, theater takes up
Mhm.
so much time, which I'm not complaining about, but it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing scenes right now with my class. We're doing monologues. So I think that's my most creative outlet. Um, yeah, not a ton, not as much as I'd like to in terms of, oh, and music, definitely music.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot. I play piano every day for hours if I can.
You are a great pianist. It's pianist?
Yeah, I remember you freestyling the first week of school. I was playing the piano. You
You
were,
remember that?
yeah, I have a video of it.
Oh man, can you send me that video?
Yes, I'll send that video to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have
Uh,
I think, two of them, but
it's great because that was just the environment that we were around, that free environment. That you know what, if
yeah.
these two pianos are here, and even though one's broken, one of them works. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah,
In that free environment to just be creative and to create
that
everything
was crazy to get to Duke and just there's music constantly,
constantly.
constant music, constant singing and shouting, just dancers in the hallways, actors doing monologues in the hall. It's an amazing environment.
Like a ghetto high school musical.
It- yeah.
Ghetto high school musical. Yep.
I mean, but it's so much better almost because I mean, no, it definitely is better.
Mhm.
It's so much better than anything that you could imagine. There's negative sides to it, and that's what I was telling the kids that were auditioning this year,
Mhm.
because I was me and the other people who were talking to them started making it sound like it was this wonderland of you don't have to take standardized tests in theater and you don't have to do this. It's an intense environment, but
Mhm.
it really brings out the best in so many people. It's a beautiful thing
Yeah.
to watch and to be a part of. I miss it so much too.
And I'm glad that we already started getting into this because I wanted to get into this anyway. Santiago, I ask every person that goes to Duke Ellington this question, and it is: do you go to Duke Ellington School of the Arts?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I.
Santiago, you already know what I need from you. I need your honest opinions on Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Do you hate it? Do you love it? What more do you want from the school? What are you getting enough of from the school? Tell me everything. Spill the tea. You're a junior. Jesus Christ.
Um, I like Duke. I think right now we're facing the challenges every high school is facing. I was looking at a post, a college that I'm thinking of applying to, and they posted a picture of all their students at home, stuck in their bedrooms recording theater on Zoom. I think that sucks. I mean, honestly, yeah, it sucks. It's the worst possible way to do theater.
The worst things ever.
It's really, really painful. I mean, just drags everything out of you. It
And
sucks.
the worst thing is that people who never have done live theater don't understand how terrible it is to do theater over Zoom.
Yeah.
Like when I tell you that like the theater got hit really hard because of COVID. Because now it's not just that the theater might not even be a thing when we get back to regular world. It's at the point where we can barely act to our full potential because we can't feel the energy through freaking Wi-Fi. Like it's crazy.
And it's not even like film acting, because film acting, you have a crew there,
And
you
you're
have
still
a
in a
director
scene with
there,
somebody
you have
else.
scene partners,
Yes.
and I look around and it's my street and my bed, and I can hear my brother in the room next door doing his social studies class. I mean,
It
it's just so
sucks.
limiting. It's so limiting, and
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot. The teachers at Duke, back to Duke, the teachers are great. The art teachers, academic teachers too. I mean, the academics are great, but we go for the arts, and the art teachers they know what they're doing. But I think they're facing the same challenges every teacher and every person is facing right now, which is just quarantine
Mhm.
is the worst.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's what I think about Duke. I think there are challenges they face. I think there are times where we could join departments. And
What
I
you
think
mean?
there's a lot of locked up and hidden potential
Mhm.
in our 8 departments. We have 8 departments and we use them individually.
Mhm.
And it's really sad to me. Duke does a lot. I mean, I love what Duke is doing, but I just think like we have a music department and we have a writing department and we have an acting department and we have a dance department. We can do a professional level musical
Mhm.
with the people we have. We have 600 kids. Every single one of them is inspired, and every single one of them has a talent.
Mhm.
And we have one of the nicest theaters, like actual facilities I've ever seen. Obviously, I'm talking about if this were after or before COVID.
Mhm.
Um, and there's just some times where I just feel like they keep us too disconnected from each other, each department.
Yeah.
But otherwise, and that's not a critique in the sense that I'm like, you guys aren't doing enough to Duke Ellington. I'm just thinking there's a lot of potential which I think we have left to unlock.
No, I definitely understand that. I definitely understand that because me and shout out to Jordan because we were actually talking about this on our episode when she said that she will love a all school production. And I feel like a couple other people said that to me as well. An all school production will be something very beneficial to us as artists, not only because we're working together as a school, but because there are so many creative minds thinking together in one place. The inspiration and the ideas are just going to start bouncing off of each other like that. So I do think that that's something we need to bring up, and I feel like Duke is scared to do it because of the budget, but I don't think they're thinking about how much money we will make back from that
Yes.
budget if we do this performance,
Yeah. Yeah. And
especially
what you say
before
about
COVID.
budget, sorry?
I say especially before COVID.
Yeah. And after COVID, I think once we really get back to normal, people are impatiently waiting to watch a show. Like
Yeah.
nobody's been to a theater in months, over almost a year now.
Mhm.
And I know as soon as I see a show come up, I'm going to go to it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people would feel the same way. Duke had popular shows already, so I think we would pull in some good audience numbers.
I think so too. I think so.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, really Duke is doing a lot, but and COVID is so limiting. When I say all these things that could be done differently, could be done more often. This is all post-COVID, but
Yeah.
definitely I think all school productions would be so beneficial. And maybe not even all 8 departments, but just join dance and theater, join music and theater, join them.
Just something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just something. But we don't have to showcase our talents individually, but we can showcase our talents as a school. I feel like
yeah.
it would be very beneficial for all of us. As
Yeah.
a
You guys are doing a Black History Month thing right now, right?
Yeah, so we literally just got finished with that today.
Oh,
That's the second year. Well, not all of them, some of the second year department. We are composing a Black History Month piece from our Black History Month monologue that we had to do our juries with,
oh yeah.
and our jury pieces are actually really good. And there's 7 of us that are doing it, and yeah, so I'm excited for that to come out so the department can see that, and for whoever they're going to send it to see that project and our hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, because yesterday in acting class, my our teacher mentioned you guys. She was like, second years are doing big things.
Yeah,
Stay ahead of them because you're catching up. No, you guys are, yeah. Are you doing Shakespeare then too? Because
yeah, we're also doing Ruffins. And
yeah.
yeah, I'll talk to you about that off air though. Something, yeah, I'll talk to you about that off air. But Santiago, you are also, and I don't know how many people know this about you, but you are also very photogenic. You can take a picture, boy.
Eric, we have one picture, and since the day we took it, I have thought you looked better in that picture. So,
You know how to take a, but I'm just saying, like, even like your little like shots that you post on like Instagram and all those, like, you know how to take a pic. Where did that eye come from? Where did that eye come from?
oh, just for pictures, I really just take pictures of things I like. I mean, it's as simple as that. Um sometimes I don't like the pictures, but sometimes yeah, usually it's just I like symmetry. I really like symmetry and how things look. Um I like watching movies because of how they really show the world in a way in which a lot of people don't see the world sometimes.
Mhm.
I like watching different directors, and you learn through experiencing other people's art. So that's, I think, my favorite thing. I think drawing definitely helped too. Growing up constantly drawing, you get a sense of angles. But I've never thought of myself as an amazing photographer or anything. My dad takes really good pictures too. So I think
But
he growing up.
but Santiago is is being real humble right now. This boy can make a tree look good. He can take a random picture of a tree and make it look good. Why do you do that? Why do you just be trying to humble yourself?
I mean, yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna say, yeah. I'm the one with the camera, but everything I'm taking pictures of is pretty on its own. I mean, if I'm
Mhm.
taking a picture of a tree and it looks nice, that's the tree doing all the work, I think. But
That's deep. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
thank you, Santiago, for coming on the Artsball podcast. But
thank you.
before you get off the podcast, we have to do this. We have to get your dead or alive. Now, for everybody that's just first time tuning into the Artsball podcast, welcome. Hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning into the Artsball podcast. If you're going to stay, welcome. If you're leaving, well, goodbye. And but dead or alive, this is a segment on the podcast where I ask the artist that is on the podcast who they would like to work with that is dead or alive. Now they can choose one artist, they can choose 100 artists. Please don't choose 100 artists because I still got to edit this podcast. But yeah, go ahead, do you, dead or alive?
I'm gonna give you three.
You want to give me three? Okay.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
Viola Davis. A lot of people know are my two favorite actors, and Wes Anderson, the director.
Really?
Yes. Those are the 3 people I'd like to work with. There are dozens of others I'd like to meet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of others I'd like to work with too, but I'm going to keep it at 3.
You want to keep it at 3?
And everybody watching this podcast, check out the work of every single one of those artists. Viola Davis, Daniel Day-Lewis, Wes Anderson are geniuses.
Yes.
Living legends.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
Santiago.
And check out Eric. Check out everything Eric's ever done, ever. And keep an eye because he's going to.
I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that because we're on the Arts Bar Podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Arts Bar Podcast. I appreciate every last one of you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode because I sure enough did with my boy Santiago. Santiago, before we get off this podcast, is there anything you want to say, promote, push, anything?
Those artists, listen to them. And also, just don't be afraid to listen and to watch and to read and discover things that aren't popular. I think is the biggest thing I've learned from other people at Duke is just be yourself and how you express yourself creatively, and be yourself in what you consume creatively, because there's a lot of underrated art out there that goes unnoticed for far too long.
Message.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Please do that. Yeah, don't just be in the same boat. Try to be very versatile in your art. Be very versatile in the artists you listen to. I try to be very versatile in the artists that I pick for the podcast. I'm choose people from different backgrounds, different aesthetics, different genres of art. So yes, please be open-minded. Please be cautious to what art that you consume and what art that you listen to, see, whatever. And remember that the Arts Bar Podcast told you that advice. Thank you for tuning into the Arts Bar Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Curry III. You can follow me on Instagram at Eric Curry III. You can follow the podcast at the Arts Block Podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, you already know what to do. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on post notifications so you can be notified every time we post a podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you give me a 5-star and a review. If you're listening anywhere else, shout out to you. What they got to remember, Santiago?
Follow, share, subscribe. Do everything to promote this.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Was that it?
No, it wasn't it. But yes, to reiterate, yes, do all those things Santiago said. Remember that artists never die.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Episode 9.